So you've grabbed yourself some clay, be it Fimo, Sculpey, or any of the other brands. These are just some I had sitting around. So let's look at the packaging. Other than telling you its branding and what have you, you will have a code, which is a colour coding. And then on the back it's got the colour written out in a couple of languages, so depending on what you speak. But most importantly, here on the front, and on all the packs it has this, is your baking temperature. So for female effect, that is 110. Some of the others, it is 130, so it does pay to look at that. Or your safety information on the back. Just as an aside, Fimo have this sticker that you can actually use to reseal the pack if you're only using a bit of it. So same, this is the larger Fimo block. Again, the baking temperature and guide, the colour information down the bottom, and even on the Sculpey, you just have a look, need to look a little bit differently. So up here is the colour and code, and then the baking is just there, so written in on. All your safety information is on it. One of the most important things to remember when you're using these clays is it's do not microwave. They're definitely oven baked. Some of the basic tools to help get you started. Well, you do need a working surface. Non-porous, the plasticizers in your clay can damage wooden surfaces, so use a sheet of wax paper. I grabbed this $5 glass cutting board from Target, a ceramic tile down from Bunnings, or any other work surface. You can get the official ones. So blades, these are a couple of the very sharp tissue blades. They're great for cutting, for lifting the clay up off the ground, very thin. But you can go down to your hardware store. These are paint scrapers, and I used those for the first few months of using my clay. Again, a nice, reasonably thin edge. They're not as sharp, but they are good for lifting your clay up off your work surface if you need to, or just cutting straight edges on your clay. You can use a knife if you're cutting out shapes or trimming your clay. So this is just a kitchen knife. This is from the $2 shop. It's just a knife with changeable blades. Or, as you saw earlier, you can use the proper blades. There are many of the different brands have their own versions, some with safety ends. So to get started, you do need to roll out your clay. It's conditioning, which I'll talk about shortly, but rolling out your clay, the white roller is from a catering store, so that's usually used for icing. Then the acrylic roller and the acrylic roller sheath, they come in as a set of 2 from your craft store, and they're really handy. If no other choice, you can actually use your normal rolling pin but put wax paper over the top of your polymer clay. So conditioning, what is conditioning? It is getting the clay ready to work with. It's not just making it soft. So straight out of the package they can be firm, but it's not just making it soft, it's mixing up the 3 main ingredients in your clay. So take your piece of clay, flatten it out easy enough to roll. Give it a few rolls. So you can see, if you can, probably not with that definition here, but there are 3 different products in there. You may be able to see the lines of them. So there is the PVC product, a plasticizer, and then a binding agent. So what you're doing is making sure they're all mixed together. So fold and roll your clay. Try not to get air captured in it, so make sure you push along the seam. If you do, as I just did then, rather any small pieces, you can just dig them out from previous colour, but you should have all your gear on. So you just keep turning and rolling and turning and rolling until you have a nice smooth product that is very soft and easy to work. I did cheat, this is Sculpey 3, so it conditions up very quickly. But see, it's no lines, does not crack when you bend it. So I'll just grab a bit of the Fimo Soft. Right. So if you just roll out your product once or twice, it'll feel soft. You'll think it's ready to go. You could probably work with it, but it's not mixed up. See all the crags and gaps and things along the edge? That means it's not soft enough and not prepared to go. You need the nice smooth edges, and you don't want the product to crack when you bend it. So you do need to roll it for a fair bit. If you're using a pasta machine, it is about 20 times through the pasta machine again. It's through the pasta machine on its thickest setting, fold it in half, put the folded edges through, and then in it goes again. So you get a nice piece of clay ready to work. So what can we do? Well, we can cut it out into different shapes. We can use any cutters, any equipment you have around. I have another tutorial coming shortly which shows you some easy textures using products from around the house. You can ball it up. One of the easiest things, ball it up in your hands, down into the size you want. I use the palm of my hands to just ball, but you can use the bench top, although I usually find I end up with ovals as opposed to circles. And if you want to turn these into beads that you can string on something, grab a toothpick or other sharp object. Now remember, this is a beginner's guide, so these are things you can find around the house, and you just poke your hole through the middle. Make sure it's even on both sides. You may need to work it a little bit. Reshape it, flatten it out on the edges or whatever shape you prefer. And once you've worked your clay into whatever you're doing, we then get on to baking. So to bake your products, you can use, this is a piece of glass out of a picture frame, so just the blank piece of glass from the front of a picture frame. You can bake on that, you can work on that surface too. A ceramic tile that I just had lying around, I do find that I can work on that and then put it straight into the oven. You can bake on those surfaces. They may seem a little stick once they've cooled back down, once they've cooled back down, but they're easy to just shake loose. Or you can buy a dedicated baking tray, just one of your baking trays from the kitchen shop. The reason I say dedicated is it isn't recommended to use products for both polymer clay and cooking. So I hope you enjoyed that quick beginner's guide. Thank you for watching, and look out for more tutorials.